Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today from the Public Works Department, a new face to TV, but not to our team here in Fitchburg. Ross Kaler is here. Ross, welcome to Talking Fitchburg. And what do you think? Well, I mean, this is your first time on TV?
Yeah,
so
I know this is great. It's good to have this capability for our projects and get the word out there. So thanks.
You can come hang here anytime you want to, buddy. The door is wide open, and we love talking with you guys up there. But we know you're busy, and we're here today to talk about the resurfacing project that's coming up for 2024. We got a big meeting coming up, kind of going over everything that's going on. But today we're just going to kind of break down just some of those things that you'll be talking about at the meeting, but just in the project in general, so people know what's going on when we're talking about the resurfacing of our roadways. So what does it mean, just in general, what does street resurfacing mean for somebody who's new to the city or is like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when we say resurfacing, basically what we mean is replacing the asphalt. There's a couple of different kinds of street construction projects, and this is kind of in the mid-level between, some of the easier maintenance projects and the more in-depth full reconstruction.
So do they are they literally like taking off the asphalt? Like, are they going down to aggregate and starting there, or this? What does that look like, or does that mean water and sewer too? Like,
so the resurfacing, they basically go in, grind up the existing asphalt with a huge machine, and then it's down to the aggregate that's under the roadway already. We'll replace bad spots. If there's spots that hold water or are soft, we'll replace that aggregate, but we'll leave hopefully 90% of it, and then replace damaged curb and gutter, and then repave asphalt right on top, and the road will look basically the same as it did before, just with new asphalt.
Gotcha.
Sometimes we'll redo the water main or sewer if it needs it. But most of the time it doesn't. So, for example, this year we're only redoing the water and sewer pipes on one street on Crescent Road.
Gotcha. So that's identified ahead of time as well on as far as you got your resurfacing, like what needs to be resurfaced, and then beyond resurfacing, if you have to go deeper, so to speak.
Exactly.
You got that spelled out. How do you pick the roads? So I think that's always a big question in these meetings is what's the process?
Yeah. So basically every 2 years, the city does what's called PACER ratings, and that's a 1 to 10 scale. 1's the worst, 10 is the best, like a brand new road is a 10. And that was developed by the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and it's used nationwide as a rating system. So every 2 years, we drive every street in the city and rate them all from 1 to 10. For resurfacing, streets with a rating between 3 and 5 are good candidates. For streets in worse condition, we'll do a full reconstruction where we replace all of the aggregate under the streets, and then roads in better condition, better than 5, we'll just do stuff like crack sealing or chip sealing because it doesn't need as much work in a resurfacing. So,
does the chip sealing or crack filling count as a resurfacing project, or is that under a different category?
That's under a different category. Those are maintenance activities, and the resurfacing is what we call a capital expense. So it's like putting in a new roadway, new asphalt. So
we talk about the options. How long does the process take? I think that's always a big question too. So when they come into your neighborhood, what's that process?
Right. So we try to hit a range of between 2 and 6 weeks between when we start work on a street and when the street is completely paved and ready to go. Weather can obviously impact that. If everything goes right, we should be on that 2-week end. If it rains for a week in there and we have to come back and redo stuff because of the rain, then it can creep up to that 6+ week mark. So basically step 1, we replace damaged curb. City staff goes out, looks at cracks, stuff where the curb head is broken, anything like that. We mark it for replacement, and the contractor comes in, redoes that. that's kind of the most impactful thing to an individual resident. If the curb's like right in front of their driveway, then you may not be able to get into your driveway for 7-ish days, because that's how long the concrete actually takes to cure. But if you have a disability or need other accommodations, we are happy to talk about that and can kind of fulfill those needs as well.
And you notify, so if
Yes.
the question of, can I get in my driveway during this time frame, what's the notification on that, so people have time to, like, hey, you're not springing this on me, but we have to get it done.
Exactly. So basically, once the contractor is ready to start the work in general, the city will send out a letter, and I will call out those driveways that are going to be impacted heavily. And then 48 hours before the contractor actually removes the curb, they have to notify you by knocking on your door and leaving a door hanger saying, hey, in 48 hours, we're going to be here, we're going to do this, move your cars out of the driveway, here's the contact information for who to call if this is an issue.
Gotcha. So people received a letter in the mail for about January 22nd. It went out to property owners that are affected with these projects. There's a public information meeting coming up here on Monday, February 26th, here at the City Hall in the Francis Huntley Cooper Council Chambers from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Ross, you'll be presenting some of the things we talked about here today.
Yep.
But anything else people should expect at that meeting?
We'll go more in detail about the actual list of roads, so everyone knows kind of the scope of this project. And we'll also go more in depth on the actual construction process, because there are obviously a few more steps than what we've talked about today. So
awesome. And then if people want to stay involved and up to date in the project, obviously we've shared what happens as they get closer to your driveway and to your street. But if you just want to know what's going on, you have a way to stay up to date on these things.
Yeah, so we have a webpage for this project on the City Public Works webpage. It's the annual street resurfacing page. There's also going to be a Notify Me setup so that you can get notifications from text or email. And then you can also call or email the City Public Works Department, and that'll get transferred to me, and I can answer any of your questions.
And as this, Ross and I were talking beforehand, as it gets closer, we're going to continue to get information out here through Talking Fitchburg, as well as our socials too, to let people know so that it is coming up. Well, I appreciate the time, and we'll be recording that meeting on the 26th as well, so if you can't make it to that meeting, don't worry, we got you covered here at Fact TV, and we'll get that on the project page as well. Ross, awesome job. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy.
Smooth.